Welcome to the Sports Investor Podcast, where it's all about smart sports betting. Here is your host, Professor MJ.
Hello my friends, this is Professor MJ from Quebec City in Canada. I'm glad to be back for my Week 4 NFL picks. Things could not have gone any better last week as I got all of my 4 picks right. Those 4 correct picks included the bonus pick, where I expected the Raiders to come out flat in the first quarter at Washington, following their easy win against the lowly Jets. The game went exactly according to the script. Alright, so let's try to replicate last week's performance. This time, I do see more good plays than usual. I've got 4 main value bets for you, as well as 4 secondary picks. This episode is dedicated to the people listening from the state of Wisconsin. I had a chance to see Brett Favre's last game as a Packer during the 2007 NFC Championship game at Lambeau Field against the Giants, which is the only time I've been in Wisconsin, but I certainly hope to go back sometime. Let's get started on this week's picks in the NFL. Pick number 1. Chargers -1 against the Eagles. I see 4 factors going the Chargers' way. Factor number 1. This will be the 3rd straight home game for Los Angeles. Less traveling equals more rest. Factor number 2. The Eagles are coming off a dramatic win over the Giants. Rookie kicker Jake Elliott nailed a 61-yard field goal as time expired to provide an emotional 27-24 win over their archenemy New York Giants. The level of motivation won't be nearly as high playing a non-conference road game. Factor number 3. Philly will be traveling through 3 time zones for this game. And finally, factor number 4, already decimated with injuries in the secondary, the Eagles are uncertain about the status of their star defensive lineman Fletcher Cox, which might result into less pressure on Phillip Rivers. As of now, he seems more likely to play than to miss the game though. Their defense might have trouble holding up against the Chargers. Starting running back Darren Sproles is out for the year. The Eagles will now rely on Wendell Smallwood and LeGarrette Blount. Meanwhile, the Chargers starting running back Melvin Gordon got hurt last week, but he should be good to go. The action is pretty evenly split on both teams, as 59% of spread bets have gone on Philly, while 60% of moneyline bets have been on the Chargers. Pick number 2. 49ers plus 7 points at Arizona. I recommend betting this game early in the week because the line might move the other direction. The Cardinals lost on primetime television Monday night against the Cowboys, a game in which Carson Palmer was under pressure very often. Gamblers will have this game fresh in their minds. The Niners also played a primetime game, but their Thursday night loss drew much less attention. The number 1 argument in favor of San Francisco is the number of days of preparation and rest. The 49ers will benefit from an extra 4 days compared to the Cards, considering San Francisco played Thursday, while Arizona was in action on Monday. That's huge! In 2016, the Cardinals beat the Niners in both matchups. As a matter of fact, Arizona has defeated them 4 consecutive times. I'm pretty sure San Francisco is looking for some kind of payback. Pick number 3. Seahawks minus 13 points against the Colts. Boy, do I smell a blowout here. Seattle lost their opening game 17-9 in Green Bay. In week number 2, they barely beat a mediocre 49ers team by a 12-9 score. Then, they trailed 30-14 at some point last week at Tennessee before losing 33-27. Their usually stout defense allowed a jaw-dropping 195 rushing yards to the Titans. They are going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. I have no doubt they will be playing like madmen. Meanwhile, the Colts are coming off a 31-28 win over the lousy Browns. They will quickly realize that the level of play is not the same in Seattle. Indy will be traveling 3 time zones, and non-conference road games tend to be less motivating for NFL clubs. I'm expecting the Seahawks to explode in this game. Pick number 4. Dolphins plus 3 points versus the Saints in London. Miami losing 20-6 at the Jets was a stunner. They will be very focused this week. I'm sure their coaches will be in their face all week long during practice. Meanwhile, the Saints' defense was finally able to stop the bleeding by allowing just 13 points to the Panthers. This will mark the 3rd road game in 4 contests for New Orleans, also their 2nd straight, and we're talking about a long trip overseas. Fatigue might come into play. I do like the Dolphins to rebound this week. As I said at the beginning, I see more value plays than is usually the case this week. Here are 4 more picks that I don't grade as highly as the first 4. I leave it up to you to decide whether you want to tail or not. I'm taking the Chiefs minus 6.5 points against the Redskins. Washington coming off a statement game on primetime television against the Raiders might let down here. Also, a non-conference road game for them. I'm also going with the Jets plus 3.5 points against the Jaguars. This is a sandwich game for Jacksonville after playing Baltimore last week and Pittsburgh up next. Also keep in mind that the Jags traveled to London last week. Jacksonville may be feeling too good about themselves after beating up on the Ravens last week, so there's a chance they let their guard down. More than 70% of the bets have gone on the Jags thus far. Going back to 2011, the Jets have beaten the Jags on 3 straight occasions. I'm betting the Rams plus 7.5 points at the Cowboys. Los Angeles played last Thursday, while Dallas played Monday, so 4 additional days of rest for the Rams. Also, the Cowboys may be looking ahead of their big rematch against the Packers next week. Finally, I'm taking the Texans plus 1.5 points against the Titans. My level of confidence with this pick is lower than the previous 3, but I could see Tennessee playing more soft after their big, impressive win over Seattle. Tennessee won the last matchup 24-17 last January, but the Texans had won 8 of the previous 9 meetings. Okay, so here's a quick recap of my 4 main picks. San Diego Chargers minus 1 point against the Eagles. San Francisco 49ers plus 7 points at the Cardinals. Seattle Seahawks minus 13 points against the Colts. and Miami Dolphins plus 3 points versus the Saints. That concludes this session of the Sports Investor Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember that if you're looking to open an account with a new bookie, make sure you check out my in-depth sportsbook reviews on my website, professormj.com. I've appraised 20 bookies so far, each getting a grade out of 100%. For example, Pinnacle is currently sitting in first place with a 97% grade. In each of my reviews, I'm providing a list of pros, a list of cons, and I'm also reporting stories I found on online forums, some of which are pretty entertaining, including 5 head linesman physically threatening a player, a cheating scandal involving BetOnline that you can see in video, or a guy getting robbed of 1,000 British pounds by 10bet Sportsbook. Make sure you check that out. So again, thank you very much for spending a part of your day with me, and keep investing wisely. Bye bye.